All right, guys, today on this episode, we're talking about the top 5 most likely interview questions that you're going to get from an employer when you're going into your interview. So we're going to cover these 5, and it's really important, and there could be variations or other questions, and we can cover those in later conversations or later episodes. But these 5 are more than likely going to be included in some variation, shape, or form within your interview. And I want to make sure that we tackle these so you're best equipped on how to come out of this as the obvious choice, obvious candidate for the job, and you get that job and you're hired. All right. A lot of people are out of work right now, and I want to make sure that everyone who's tapping into Axe Recruiting, checking out our channel, is best equipped. We actually got a ton of resources at axerecruiting.com in our blog section on your 5 must-dos for your big interview, how to write a resume, and a lot of other resources that are available to you all to use, to leverage, to be as successful as possible going into the job market and making sure you're as prepared as possible so you win that job. We don't want to see you guys going out there and doing 3 interviews, falling flat on your face, praying for the 4th. Let's get this done. Let's get the job you want and get you taken care of. So we'll cover these 5 questions. Comment below on how these worked out for you. If you leverage these in interviews going forward, we'd love to hear the feedback. So let's get started. So the first question that you're most likely to hear when you sit down with an employer is, tell me a little bit about yourself. Now, they obviously have your resume in front of their face. They have a cover letter. They've gone over, they have a pretty good understanding of who you are professionally. You've listed these, but take them through the chronological flow, all right? So you're actually gonna wanna walk them through this, but you're gonna add some qualitative aspects as well. So take them back. Remember, we're dealing with hopefully only a 2-page resume here if you've been following our advice. Take them back to some of your previous experiences, probably the first one on your resume, not your latest, but your oldest employer would be a good place to start and why you got started there, including your academics and what your hopes were coming out of academia. A lot of people have careers that are aligned with their academic background, some do not. You can explain why you deviated and that you found your passion elsewhere. You learned to develop those skills through employment with the first employer that took you out of university, college, what have you. That's always a really good place to start as well. So tie that all in, let them kind of know, give some color to who you are and why you've moved through the roles you've moved through, why you've moved on from those roles, what you were looking for, how you grew, some really strong takeaways. Always bridge the next opportunity with a takeaway, what you learned, how you grew, and applied it to your next role. Every single time you move into a new role in the interview, when you're talking about yourself, that's a really important flow and cadence to leverage, all right? What you took away, what were your experiences, why you moved on to the next role, and how you took what you learned from those previous roles and bridged it into your next one. So you can demonstrate that you've grown, you've continued to add skill set, and you're an asset at this point in time with your work experience moving into this role. All right, shed some light on some personal experiences, personal awards. If you followed our advice, you have highlighted your achievements, both personal and professional, within your resume as well. Touch on those, give some color, shed some light on those aspects as well. Tie them into your work experience. Maybe what got you those awards, what was it that broke the camel's back that got you the recognition you deserve, and flow through the resume in a very chronological, explanatory manner, giving some highlights to, those unique aspects of yourself that make you you and will stand out and will stick in the employer's mind when they're reviewing candidates. The second interview question you might get could be, what are your biggest weaknesses? So just be honest with this question. There's nothing worse than a candidate saying that hyperized strength is a weakness. I'm too organized. Workaholic. I don't know when to quit. Those all sound good, but those are not good answers. It sounds like you're rigid. It sounds like you're not adaptable. It sounds like you lack discipline if you're overcommitted in certain aspects as well. And on top of that, it just sounds like an answer that you think the employer wants to hear, and they see right through that. So really focus on your weaknesses. If you're a disorganized person, own it. Own that you're a walking tornado, you're a bit of a disaster, but you have your own systems or processes. It's what you've always done to get through and by. It might not be the most efficient, but you understand your catalog system, and that's how you get through your workday, and that's how you accomplish your goals. And explain how it hasn't inhibited you in any way professionally in terms of your progression, but you do recognize it is a weakness and it's something you're willing to work on, and in fact, ideally you are working on, and you can show that you've applied that to your next role and leveraged your weaknesses and turn them into strengths, all right? So being able to recognize where you do come short is a strength. It shows that you're analytical, it shows that you're honest, it shows that you know where the gaps are, so in a team environment, you may be able to lean on somebody who can fill those voids and fill those gaps, and together really come up with a strong solution as a team. So lean into that question, don't lean away from it, and do not pad it with a hyperized strength or a over strength as your weakness. No one wants to hear it. It's not good. It's garbage. Get it out of the process. A lot of candidates do it, all right? So that's how you handle that question. What are some of your weaknesses? Now, you may in turn get asked what your biggest strength is. Now's the time to talk about what makes you strong. Now's the time to talk about your closing skills if you're in sales, and how you demonstrate that through your achievements. Now, the achievements that you do have, if you've listed them in your resume, speak to those, lean into them. These awards might be self-explanatory: top performer of the quarter, of the year, what have you. And some might not be so obvious to the employer. So lean into those, give concrete examples of the award, what it means, how people are defined for receiving that award, and what you specifically did to receive it, and the strengths that you inherently possess, or learned, that got you that award and that recognition and that accomplishment in the first place. Speak to that. You can speak to that in previous roles, you can speak to that in academia, you can speak to that in personal experience. Let them know that this is a really strong attribute of yours. It's not going away. It's not a one-off. This has been a thread throughout my entire personal and professional development, right? So lean into your strengths. That's your opportunity to shine. The next question you might get might be one based around, what are your intentions with the company? How long do you plan on sticking around? So where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 3 years? Companies ask this question because they want to know where you fit into the organization, what their roadmap might look like. You're an asset. If they're hiring for C-level, director, managerial roles, they definitely don't want to see anybody leaving anytime soon. If they have growth goals, they want people who are going to bring best practices in, help develop systems and process, nurture systems and process, build teams. This stuff takes time. So if you've got a less than 5-year plan and you're going for a senior position, maybe you shouldn't be going for that position. But I would encourage you to be honest with your answer no matter what. If this is a stepping stone or a means to an end, you've got to own it, because you definitely want that letter of recommendation from your most recent employer when you're going on to your next opportunity. If you burn bridges, if you deceive them early on through interviews and telling them what they want to hear, and then you're gone in 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, do not burn bridges. It's not a good idea. I would be honest, let them know what your intentions are, especially entry level and other positions. They're open to that. People come and go from organizations and companies all the time for a variety of reasons. Give them the opportunity to predict that, backfill you, leverage your skills for now in what they're trying to do in the short term as a company. They still very well may want to take you on as an employee in the short term. You definitely want a letter of recommendation. You definitely want to do a great job while you're there. And you definitely don't want to burn bridges. So I'd be upfront and honest about what your 5-year plan. And if your 5-year plan is career growth or management, that's great. Those are a lot of generic answers that people give. Tell them why, if that is your plan, and tie it into personal. I'm buying my first home. I have a baby on the way. I'm starting a family. I need somewhere to set in roots. I'd like to progress with the company. I'm taking an online MBA. I'd like to move into management within an organization and prove myself. These are all very valid reasons that you can explain. Tie in the personal aspect so there's a little more life to your answer versus just, again, having the hiring manager think that you're just feeding them what they want to hear. It's the last thing you want to do. So don't be afraid to get a little personal. Let them know what is driving you, what's behind these desires, what's behind these goals. It also makes you a human being, and that's what they're doing. They're hiring a human being. The fifth question you might get could be, out of all the candidates we're hiring, why should we hire you? Well, this is your opportunity to shine once again. And what I would do if I were asked this question is reiterate my strengths, reiterate everything we had just gone through in the process. They know why, let them know they know why. We just discussed why based off of my accomplishments, how I fit into this culture, what I'm looking to gain in the next 5 years by being part of a company and growing a company and establishing myself, what I want personally for my family, what this company's mission is about, what their mission statement is about is really important to me. So make sure you know a lot about the company and you've dug in and done your research. It's really important in order to answer this question that you come with a loaded gun. So you've done all your research, you've checked the company out in the news recently, you found out they were involved in a philanthropic event, or they're tied to a specific charity, or they've done some work in the community, or they've innovated a new product recently, or there was a merger and acquisition. You need to know and be up to date with this stuff and know already, before even being part of the company, where they're headed, what they're about, what's their messaging, and that fits into what you want to do and what you want to be a part of, and you're excited to be a part of that. On top of your achievements, on top of your career progression, on top of everything that makes you great, you know what makes this company great and what they're up to, and it's a great culture fit for you and you want to be a part of it. And then to really wrap that up, if you really want to be impressive and leave a lasting impression and stick at the forefront of a hiring manager or employer's mind, flip this on them. Ask for their endorsement on the job. So I turn to you, Mr. Employer, and ask, out of all the candidates you've seen up to this point, is there any reason why you wouldn't endorse me for this position here today and right now? And do I have your endorsement for this job? Can I leave here knowing in full confidence I have the position? Ask that question. Ask that question, you will impress them. Now, chances are you're not going to get the job on the spot. There may be process, there may be 3 interviews, there may be 5. Oftentimes there's processes. Sometimes there's not, but I can guarantee you're going to stick at the forefront of the hiring manager's mind if you ask a question like that. They're going to be taken off guard. You're going to put them on their heels. I've never been asked that before. They're going to be impressed by you. Out of all the candidates they've seen up to this point, you're the only one who asked for the job. Point blank. Everyone else, thanks for your time. Oh, the hiring manager lets you know that HR will be in touch with you via email or phone call in a week, a couple weeks, and you just leave it at that. You've literally put your destiny in the hands of nothing. Like, it's just, the answer is floating out there in the universe. Close on the answer. Even if you don't get the answer, close on it. They'll remember you, they'll be impressed. That's probably one of the best tips I have for you on how to answer all these questions. Close with that. So those are just my top 5 on how to answer interview questions that you're most likely to get. I'd really love for you guys to share, like, subscribe and like this video. Comment below if you've leveraged some of these answers and responses, or you've gotten some of these questions and how it went. We definitely want to hear from you and see how it goes. Now, visit axrecruiting.com and go to our candidates page, our button, and make sure you submit your resume to us for our database, especially if you're out of work as a result of COVID-19. We're currently collecting a database, adding people to our database right now, and connecting them with employers based on job skills and experience. We'd love to add you to our database and get you guys working again and get you some help. And in the interim, leverage these tips. We don't need to have you going out there knocking out 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews. Let's get you the job you deserve. Let's get you the job you want. Leverage these 5 tips, and I'm confident that you'll be getting a call back and a letter of offer for employment. Good luck.